Hey everyone, welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here. This is the daily astrology report for November 13th, 2020. It'll be Friday the 13th, and there is a chainsaw in the background. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I really am not in a position where I want to wait much longer for all the noise to go away. So maybe you don't even hear it. Who knows? The moon is going to finish her transit of Libra, move into Scorpio. How appropriate for Friday the 13th that we would have a dark moon in Scorpio on the day that represents superstition and bad luck, but really is such a powerful, potent energy numerologically, because it is the death card in the tarot. You know, there is transformative power with the number 13. So this day is going to end with Mars stationing direct in Aries, and although maybe not charge right out the gate immediately, Mars has definitely got the green light to take all of that energy that has been building and building and building and be ready to just release it in a very, you know, with a lot of divine masculine, healthy divine masculine energy attached to it. Self-actualization, desire to establish oneself. There's courage, there's valor, there's virtue here with Aries. So before that, the moon in Libra is going to square Pluto, Jupiter, Pallas Athena, and Saturn. And, you know, this is the same area, these are the same degrees, really, that the new moon happened at the beginning of the cycle. This is the cycle we're still clearing out right now. We are wrapping it up as we speak. The new moon will be on the 15th. So the 13th, we are really coming into the very end, you know, of the lunar cycle where the moon is, you know, at her darkest. And so, and especially moving into Scorpio, this is our last chance. I wouldn't say last chance, but with the moon in Libra squaring all this Capricorn, we get a chance to go back over and emotionally and see how we feel about the intentions that we set at the beginning of this cycle. We set some intentions around, you know, developing that spiritual capacity to balance ourselves and stabilize our minds in the midst of unrest and upheaval and all, you know, this vacillation when it comes to balancing things. So these big motions and planets with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, these are big moves that are happening in the realm of the actual matrix, in manifestation power itself. And so we're really going to feel what has been successful and what has not when the moon squares all of these positions today. It'll give us a really good view of what's left to work on. And then the moon moves into Scorpio, and it's important that we do take the time with these squares, because I think that the theme for this whole next cycle is going to be, and it's been coming up a lot in the intuitive readings, that being able to keep ourselves balanced emotionally. And this is not something new, but it's becoming much more of a necessity as we move forward. Being able to keep ourselves balanced emotionally, to calm the emotional waters of our mind and of our soul, so that not so much that we can be relaxed, which is important, and stay healthy, but a lot of it is to get the intuitive messages that we want, that we're meant to receive. We want to be open to our higher consciousness. We want to be open to a higher version of ourselves. And it's really easy when we're running a fear program or some other background program from our subconscious and not aware of it, that we can really impact the ability to bring in these messages, right? We leave ourselves, especially with the moon, we leave ourselves open to letting that fear script, you know, dictate how we feel, not realizing it, and maybe even thinking that it's our intuition. And as the moon moves into Scorpio, I mean, this is going to become a very deep, and it's just going to has a deep feeling to it. You know, we're going to get really into those spaces with the moon in Scorpio being so dark. Now, the moon is going to meet Mercury today and in early Scorpio, and we are going to get a really good look, I think, about the symbols that represent our values and ideals, because the reality is that the symbols that we have picked that represent our values and ideals, the minds and the feelings of the young people in our culture are formed by these symbols. We have these representations that we've created in order for everybody to focus on, that represent the core aspects of our community. And that shapes the younger people who are growing up, their actual minds. And I think we're going to get a good look at this. And again, this is why it's really important that we keep ourselves emotionally balanced, that the waters are calm, because we want to be able to see things for the symbols that they are and be mindful about what they actually represent. Symbolism is the beginning of Scorpio, but by the time you get to the end of Scorpio, which is where the new moon will be, it is much more about harnessing the actual experience of it itself, whereas early Scorpio is more about the ritual and the group participation in focused on a specific symbol. So symbolism is going to come up really big today, as well as the moon meets Mercury. It's going to become a much more, again, intuitive. We're going to get a lot of intuitive information and see some things and feel some things and realize that these symbols actually shape the members of the community if they're engaging with them all the time. So the moon's also going to quincunx Chiron, and Chiron, it's just been Chiron. It's just always, and there's been such a strong desire to assert ourselves lately with Chiron, either as a victim, as a savior. It just keeps getting stronger. And so with the moon here in a quincunx, it's just going to provide that opportunity for adjustment, as usual with a quincunx, because the moon is really starting to step away from what is traditional and search very passionately for something new, because of the promise of something better. And this is where desire comes from. This is where passion comes from. And it's about a more abundant life. And we get that when we share with each other, when we come together and create something together. And so there's not a lot of room for that when Chiron is still playing around within us in terms of this victim or this savior role. If we're still trying to express ourselves through one of those, emotionally we're not really able to look for anything new, because we keep staying locked into this perpetuated, self-fulfilling prophecy, essentially. So that will be a good adjustment, as I'm sure disruptive, because it means that we have to start looking at ourselves a lot more honestly. Whereas with Chiron and Aries, it's still so focused on the wounding of who we are. Whereas the moon is just well, it's time to actually start sinking down in a little bit and seeing what's behind the curtain, instead of just this really basic black or white dichotomy of we can only be one or the other in this role, which is not true. So, and then at the end of all of this, Mars is going to station direct. So Friday the 13th, I think it's really important to just harness the transformative power of 13. And with the moon in Scorpio, we're being really supported, and we have a lot of although the Scorpio is definitely at her detriment, or the moon is at her detriment or her fall in Scorpio. She's not powerful here because she likes to be held and contained, and this is just letting ourselves sink to the bottom, which is really scary as well. But along the way, there's all kinds of different opportunities to make adjustments and to Mercury meeting the moon today. Like I said before, Mercury is a guide, and so our minds, our nervous systems, when they're functioning in a place where we do feel safe, and we do feel safe with our ability to go into these spaces, can be a guide for us emotionally, right? We can use our minds and a calm nervous system to this is it's kind of like hypnosis. That's what it feels like to me, moon conjunct Mercury. And it's going to be about the symbols that represent what our shared values are. And I think we're going to see how hypnotic certain symbols can really be, and without even realizing it. But at least we have Mercury to keep us tethered to some aspect of our mind without the moon just totally drowning. That's the real fear, I think, and the real worry with the moon in Scorpio, is that you could just sink in forever. You could just go into the darkness and never come out. So we have Mercury to guide us into this space. And then Mars is gonna just station direct at the end of the day, so it's not gonna be boring, that's for sure. Asteroid Juno is in Scorpio and is gonna trine Neptune. Oh, there's gonna be so many Neptune trines over the next couple of weeks. So this transmission, this guru transmission from Neptune, is connecting with all of these emotionally based, with Juno and Scorpio. It's about our loyalty and our responsibility to our committed relationships. Asteroid Juno is the wife of Zeus. It is about marriage and contractual arrangement. So our responsibility is to each other ultimately. And a moon in Scorpio, as much as she is at her fall, can really be guided by Mercury now. So we can kind of start looking deeper into ourselves and take some responsibility for our relationships in general and our community, because we all participate. And sometimes we just need to change. Maybe we need to change the symbols and what they represent, so that we can change the dynamic of the community. So that's the 13th. There's going to be a new moon coming out that's going to cover the weekend, so Saturday, and then into the new moon on Sunday, and then talk about the whole month and the whole lunar cycle. So check that out when it gets dropped. If you really like this content and you find it helpful, please consider subscribing and definitely hitting the like button. And if you hit the notification bell, then you know when I actually drop the videos. If you are interested in reaching out on social media, everything you need is in the description box below. Email, access to the website where you can book readings and energy work there. So thank you so much for being here. Take care of you guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your other selves. And I'll see you on the next video.